welcome to West Virginia Sports Connection. We're coming to you from Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Charleston, West Virginia. I'm your host, Tracy Abdell, and I'm joined by my co-host, three-time NFL All-Pro Carl Lee. Carl, we're at it again.
Here we are. We got a big show tonight. That's for sure.
That's right. We got a special guest with us tonight. We have a recruit from West Virginia University. He happens to be the top, one of the top 25 recruits in the country. And Oscar Tshiebwe. Oscar, welcome down.
Thank you.
Glad you made it. And Jay Cinco. Jay.
Thanks for having us.
Listen, the first thing I want to ask you is, how did you two guys get together?
Well, so I've coached AAU basketball in this state for about 15 years, and Oscar came to America via the Congo to a school called Mountain Mission down in Virginia. And the president of their school called me and a gentleman by the name of Scott Long to see if we would take players from Mountain Mission. And, you know, sight unseen, when you hear 6'8", 6'9", you say, bring them here.
Come on, absolutely.
Yeah. So at that point, they came and played with us a couple weekends and stayed at my house. And unbeknownst to me, they go back to school and talk to the president, a gentleman by the name of Chris Sloan. And he calls me back and said they really enjoyed their time at their place. There's 3 or 4 of them at the time from the Congo. And he said they're going to have to stay here in the dorms all summer, or can they come with you? And I said, bring them. I mean, you know, just their culture, their people, and how you'll figure it out by interviewing Oscar, that it's just phenomenal kids, phenomenal people, and that's the beginning of it 4 years ago.
Oscar, was that scary for you? I mean, you're going into a new situation. You don't know this guy from anybody else. Obviously you do now, and you're clearly close, but how was it scary when it first happened?
That was not really scary because in April we played AU with him, and he seems nice person, nice guy. I said no. So when the school ended, and we were supposed to stay in school for all the summer till we get to AAU, then we can play. Then he said, you guys can come live with me if you want. And I said, yeah, we cannot stay all in school for all the time. Let me go live with him. So we move up, live with him, and I really like living with them all the time. So
what was like the biggest change? Like when you actually get in, you walk through the door, and now you're there. Like what now are you feeling? What are you thinking? Is it like, hey, I'm home? Or tell us what went through your mind?
When I'm at his house, I feel home. Like they treat me so good, and every time I talk to him, even every time I'm in school, I always tell him, I say, I miss you. I love living with them. So he treat me like his son. So, and every time I'm in his house, so I feel so comfortable. So that's why I like living with him.
Understandable.
So you come to Charleston, West Virginia. Was Charleston kind of a shock to you? I mean, did you like the area instantly? Obviously, you like Jay, you like being with his family. You've kind of become part of the family. What did you think of Charleston itself?
I like the city was good compared from where I went to school. It's a small city. The only thing we used to see all the mountains, so there was nothing to do. And when I lived with him, there was a little bit of stuff to do, and he used to take us everywhere, go play some games, so actually we do some stuff. So I like it. The city was good too, and it was good to live with him.
Jay, when you asked him to, come on, you guys just come live with us, what kind of an adjustment is it? You've got a family. What kind of an adjustment is it for you and the family? And it seems like you guys just fit together.
It was. I mean, first of all, coaching basketball, all the kids were always welcome into my house. But
you were in a neighborhood house.
Yeah, but it was very interesting. Their culture is very similar to the Filipino culture. I thought it was a huge benefit. It was a two-way street for my kids. Oscar teaches my kids French. They truly value the opportunity that they had, and they don't take it for granted. the opportunity that he has coming to America. So I thought it was a huge benefit for my children to see that as well. They're not entitled to, despite the fact that they're tremendous athletes, they don't feel entitled. They're very hardworking. Their culture is very hardworking, very, very friendly, very humble community. And, I've had 4 or 5 of the Congolese kids in my house at a time, and they're just wonderful people to be around. So it made it very easy.
See, to me, when people start to think about these types of relationships, they don't really get the depth of it a lot of times. They don't understand, like, the lessons that go both ways. And so I'm curious about, when we look at sports here and people who go through sports all the time. I do youth sports for the city of South Charleston. And you see parents going crazy over kids, yelling and screaming, fighting and the whole thing. When you build this kind of relationship, how is it that you respond to him on a bad game or a bad day, or how do those things blend together, sports and discipline and what's right, what's wrong? How does all those things work together to make this such a perfect situation?
Well, I think it really became a unique opportunity when Oscar said, hey, can I, not only can I come here for basketball, but can I come here to live with you when, I'm not in school? And then it almost, the dynamic of that shifted, and then I started to treat him like a son and not a basketball player. So that part of it shifted. He's got a lot of brilliant basketball. I love the game of basketball, but he's got a lot of brilliant basketball people around him. A gentleman by the name of Coach Droney that played at Davidson, trains him all the time. So I let them handle kind of the basketball side of him, and I handle, let's make sure our grades are good, let's make sure we're learning, let's make sure we're, and it's been easy, it hadn't been me, but let's make sure we're doing things off the court that we should be doing. So it became a kind of a different dynamic for me.
Okay, so which that's really unique to me, because being a basketball guy, being around AAU, how is it that you take your hands off of something that looks like that has that kind of skill? You know what I'm saying? Because most dads, and I would say that's what this is, most dads are like, oh, I'm the guy's I got to be the guy's coaching him. What makes you smart enough, brave enough to say, you know what, I'm going to trust him to somebody else. I'm going to take care of the dynamics that are the most important dynamics, because the skill set and the size and all that's already there. What makes you decide to walk away from that?
Well, I think, maybe my business background, I've learned to hire my weaknesses, right? So, I put those basketball guys around him, and the conversations Oscar and I have are not, there's obviously basketball in there, but the conversations we have are, Oscar, don't send bad texts, it's more of that.
Warning social media pitfalls.
Social media things, those are the discussions me and him have. But, what are your grades today? What do you, and so it's really, that dynamic has shifted completely, because I trust the people that are around him for basketball purposes.
I think a lot of people could learn from that. Listen, we got to take a commercial break. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to ask Oscar why he chose WVU. We'll be right back.
You can do and you can say anything you want. Live your life and I'll live mine any way I want. You can have and you can take anything you want, but everything that you do, make it what you want. Anything you want, and I want. You can do and you can say anything you want, but everything that you do, make it what you want.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
It's football season again, and Tony the Tailor has the perfect sportswear, outerwear, and footwear. Johnny O quarter zips and sport shirts, Bill's khakis, and boots from Allen Edmonds are what the smart people are wearing this season for game time and playtime. We have a great selection in our downtown Charleston store, or shop at our new downtown Huntington location. Can't make it in? Shop online at bestmastertailor.com. Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Sprague's Distributing Company, Yingling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson and Long, The Riggs Corporation, Commercial Real Estate, Paul M. Corey, CPA.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We are coming to you from Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill. Hey, listen, before we get any further, you can check out our show if you like it on YouTube, on Facebook, on Apple iTunes, on Network West Virginia. We're on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, and also our website at wvsportsconnection.com. Now that I got the plugs out of the way, I want to get to the real juicy stuff. Listen, when we went out, Carl, you were talking to Jay about, how do you let go? How do you pull back? And that was a phenomenal answer, and that speaks to who you are. And I know you. A lot of our audience might not know you, but I know you, and that doesn't surprise me a bit. But Oscar,
yes, sir.
I want to ask you, why did you choose WVU? What was it about WVU that made you choose it?
First of all, I chose WVU when I first came to USA. The only school I knew was WVU. It was West Virginia, and always on my mouth, like, I was the West Virginia. And I went to watch West Virginia and I said, I'll play for West Virginia one day. And first of all, when I first came to USA, second day I met Coach Harvey Hall, like the assistant from West Virginia. He came recruit Magic,
Magic Bender.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was sitting watching the practice. And when he saw me, I was running, play hard, and after the practice, he came talk to me, say, I really like it the way you're running, keep running, same thing. And he told my coach, bring them up there next week. They had a game, it was November, something like that. Bring them up to the game. So I said, okay, I want to go watch the game. We went to watch the game. That was a pretty good game, and really interesting. I said, no, I want to play for that team. My coach asking me, what team do you want to play, the gold team or I don't know what that team it was, but that time I first came, I didn't know anything about college basketball. And I was like, no, I want to play for the gold team. And he said, okay. And 1 week later, I met Coach Higgins. He came for Magic Mendes, and I said, he trying to talk to me, I couldn't speak English. My friend trying to translate a little bit, I understand, and I was like, okay, that's good. And so when I end up choosing West Virginia, first of all, coach showed me love, and coach wanted to coach me, and I wanted to play for Coach Higgins, and I wanted to help West Virginia, to help West Virginia, to take them to another level, like Final Four, win a championship. That's what my goal was. I didn't want to just go to another school. I chose West Virginia. It was in my heart. I wanted to play for West Virginia.
Well, I can tell you on behalf of this entire state and all these West Virginia fans, we're really happy that you're coming to WVU. I can say that, but, Coach Huggins, the guy's a legend, right? He's the third winningest active coach right now, and he's behind Krzyzewski and all that, but he's been to Final Fours. He's never won the big one. What would it mean to you to help that guy get a ring?
I'm not guarantee anything, but I'm going to work to make everybody happy. So by working hard, you're gonna do big things. So I'm going to West Virginia to work to help to bring all the team together to go win a championship. That's my goal. I didn't want to go help all the teams. I wanted to help Coach Higgins, and be the champion. My goal is to be the champion. I'm not saying I'm going to be the champion. I'm going to work. I'm going to West Virginia to work, to help West Virginia, help Coach Higgins, just work hard.
Tracy, one of the things that he said that just just jumped out at me, he says, I want to work with everybody to get to that championship. Typically, when you have standout athletes, that's typically not what you hear. You know, when you the skill set of an athlete typically says, I'm coming in and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Very rare do you hear an athlete say, I'm going to rally the team, we're going to all work, and we're going to do something. That tells me something even more beyond. I've never seen him play basketball. He looks like a DN and a tight end, but you just it goes to show like what's in his mind, which you know we hear all the time. We lose some of that when you get the skill set, you get the talent. You forget about that other group of people that you need to win a championship. Clearly, he understands that his talent is what it is, but he also has to bring in the other players. Great players make other players great, and that's just how that works.
Now listen, I don't know if you know Carl's background or not, but I mean, we talked about it a little bit. This guy, I mean, he's the real deal. Look, I've done TV, I can do TV, but my goal when I met Carl I hate to say this, 27 years ago, sorry man, you know, we kind of hit it off, but the thing about Carl, you wouldn't know he ever played. But if you saw him play, I mean, he was fantastic at it. And, you know, he's just a guy that when he's saying something like that, that speaks volumes to me about what his short time talking with you, what his impression is. And it just sounds fantastic. Listen, man, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for coming to West Virginia. And on behalf of the state, thank you for coming there. And listen, it's been a pleasure to meet you. And I hope that if we get a chance, you'll come back and do the show with us.
So, yeah. If I get, if I can, I don't know.
I'm going to bug Jay to get you back on the show, Jay, just so that you know I'm going to be all up on you on that, all right?
We can do
Listen, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks a whole lot for coming on.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yes.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. We've got every topic on football, and we'll be right back.
You can do and you can say anything you want. Live your life and I'll live mine any way I want. You can have and you can take anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want. Anything you want. And I want. You can do and you can say anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
It's football season again, and Tony the Tailor has the perfect sportswear, outerwear, and footwear. Johnny O quarter zips and sport shirts, Bill's khakis, and boots from Allen Edmonds are what the smart people are wearing this season for game time and play time. We have a great selection in our downtown Charleston store, or shop at our new downtown Huntington location. Can't make it in? Shop online at bestmastertailor.com. Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Sprague's Distributing Company, Yingling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson and Long, The Riggs Corporation, Commercial Real Estate, Paul M. Corey, CPA.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We are coming to you from Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill, and we are joined by Eddie Whitehead. Now, you're a former Charleston police detective, but you are now heading up the Charleston, West Virginia Police Athletic Activities League. Did I get it right?
Yes.
What is that?
All right, so basically what we've done, we've teamed up with National Police, the National Association for Athletic and Activities Leagues. And what it is a national nonprofit that helps local police departments establish their local chapters. So we're establishing the first one in the state of West Virginia with the Charleston, West Virginia Police Athletic Activities League. Now the mission of the athletic leagues is to prevent juvenile crime and violence by building positive relationships among kids, cops, and communities through positive engagement.
So essentially, you're looking to help the community with this through sports, essentially.
Through sports and other activities, non-athletic sports like chess clubs, dance clubs, any and everything. When the national nonprofit has been around for over 100 years. When they first started, they were big in it was all athletics. They did, football, basketball, and baseball. And then after, when you got towards like the 70s, they branched out and started doing other activities as well. And basically what it is just like you said, to keep kids out of trouble, engaged, and also strengthen police community relations amongst children in the local communities.
So Eddie, we've been in youth football together for a while. How does this impact, we know a lot of the problems come with coaching and all of that. How now does the police league change, who's the coaches? Where do you get them from? What are the requirements? How does all that change now under, again, essentially your leadership?
Basically how it changes is because it's coming from the police department, and what we're looking to do is mentor kids in a positive manner and help them understand that, just because of where they come from, they can overcome. And a lot of these kids, all they need most of the time is positive reinforcement from positive role models in their lives. When it comes to the main two things that we focus on is mentorship. That's our the biggest thing in the police athletic leagues is just positive mentorship and making sure that, you have a positive impact on this child's life.
How did you get involved? Obviously, first of all, thank you for your service. I should have probably led with that, and I did not. But what made you, I'm assuming you played sports growing up. Yeah. What made you be a police officer, and how did that impact what you're doing now?
Well, most kids, they say when they're growing up, they want to be police officers. They want to be police officers. I was never that kid. I wasn't bad, didn't get into trouble and anything like that. It was, I did graduate from West Virginia State University with a bachelor's in criminal justice, had plans to go to law school, and then life happens. So I was graduating, needed a career, and I knew some police officers, and they were like, why don't you come take the test? So fortunately I did, and it worked out well for me. Now, how we got to the point where we are establishing the first local chapter here, this is something that we tried to do a few years ago, but it didn't work out. The timing wasn't right. Here recently over the summer, the national director of the National Association for Police Athletic Leagues, Jeff Hood, he was in Charleston for the AAU boxing over the summer. Because the PAL clubs have always traditionally been big in boxing. So he was here, on business, drove around the community, was asking people what they wanted, and he so happened to call the Charleston Police Department. Well, I had already been working on a proposal to present to the chief because it's something that I still wanted to try to do. It was just perfect timing. So, he called and we had a meeting with the mayor, with Mayor Danny Jones. We had a meeting with the chief, and they were both like, yeah, we're all for it, let's do it. So one week I went to work, I was a detective. The next week they was like, here you go, you're running a police athletic league.
So this now, Western and Midwestern, which for the people who don't know, those are two of Charleston's primary youth football leagues that typically have an intense rivalry. There's always good games, a lot of talent, a lot of different coaches. How do you merge how do you merge? And the way I understand it is all those teams are coming under your jurisdiction, right? Is that?
Yeah, basically, what we're gonna do, it's something that needs to happen. You know, just like, you know, several years ago when Western and Midwestern, they both started their own football clubs. It was out of necessity because that's what they felt like they needed to do for youth football. And it's the same situation here. We just come to a time where it's time for us to combine, to work together, and to continue to have a healthy youth football program in the city of Charleston. So,
with those natural rivalries, I remember when, for instance, Charleston High and Stonewall combined, and I remember Roger Jefferson, my old coach, he said, the first day, some kids had Stonewall T-shirts on, some kids had Charleston High T-shirts. Said, everybody strip them off. Stonewall doesn't exist. Charleston High doesn't exist. We're now Capital High. I mean, is that kind of an approach you're looking to take?
It's more of a community approach with what we're doing with the Police Athletic League, because we want the community involved. So we're going to have representatives from the high school, the middle schools, and youth football organizations to come together and help with the transition to us coming together on one team.
So you're fully aware of the South Charleston Dunbar, struggle on the youth levels. By the time they get to high schools, you still have a community divide somewhat even at the high school level. There's some movement happening with South Charleston and Dunbar in youth sports. Do you think that's something that should happen, being in the capacity of being over our league anyway, the Cardinal Conference, you run that pretty much. Is that something that you think should happen out of necessity for both programs in order to eventually be able to make sense of it by the time they get to high school?
I think with the issues that West Virginia is facing overall with the population loss and just people moving out, I think out of necessity eventually it's gonna happen, because Midwestern and Western have always traditionally had the largest teams in our league, and up until recently, we've both had problems with numbers. So I think eventually it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time as far as when.
Hey, listen, man, we're running out of time. I would love for you to come back as you expand this. I think we could spend an entire show on it. I think it's vitally important to this community what you're doing. So thank you on behalf of the community. And will you come back?
Yeah, I'll definitely come back.
I'm gonna have Carl chase you down if you don't.
I'll definitely come back.
I can't chase you down, but he can.
Yeah, I'll definitely come back. I don't know if he can chase me down either.
I don't either.
Yeah, you're looking at
I might concede that.
A state champion and all that in track, so I don't know about all that. But,
all right, well, listen. This has been West Virginia Sports Connection. Hey, if you like what you see, we're always looking for sponsors. You can check us out on our website at wvsportsconnection.com. And you can check out the show on YouTube, Facebook, Network West Virginia, Apple iTunes, and again on our website at wvsportsconnection.com. We'll see you next time.